Hi everyone, it is me, Sailor Venus, Mina here, and today I'm going to talk about, this one thing that I do think needs to be talked about. Ew. Alright, there we go. So, sorry, clear my throat. So anyway, alright, and I know I talked about this, but hey, let's just do it. Alright, so in the Sailor Moon followership, there's always going to be those who think, that who hate Dic and they hate the Cloverway English offshoot, and they give all the on look to the Viz one, and they can't understand why Dic and Cloverway made the shifts to the show that they did. They can't understand why names were shifted and strikes instead names were shifted, and why some followings were not worked with at all. You know. Now, keep in mind that in the rest of the world, I'm only speaking, but keep in mind in the English world, things had to be shifted out. First off, names. Now, I know there are some folks out there that might know a lot of. I know folks who speak English know a lot of borrowed names from other speeches, that's true. But very few folks would know, or at least little kids would know, their Dawnlandish borrowed names. So shifting them to either French or Greek or Latin or Farsi, I guess, names or Hebrew names would be good, because those would be the names that folks would know more, because they were borrowed. Then the other names that were not borrowed. I mean, you folks, behave as if everyone knew the names. Now keep in mind, back when Sailor Moon first came to the English speaking world, even before that, no one knew what it was. So no one would know that, that my name was Minako. Alright, but my name's Mina, right? But no one would know that my Dawnlandish borrowed name was that. So they had to shift the names around. By the way, I don't know who this Minako is. My name's Mina. So anyway, another thing you talk about are strike names. But then again, the strike names shift from following to following. Strike names that have one name in Dic are shifted around in Cloverway, and yeah. So the strike names being shifted around, I have no grounds for why that was done. Stead names being shifted around, I guess it was to make it more smoother for folks who watch the show when know what these stead names were. Because once again, unless you've been to that land, unless you knew someone from that land, there's no way you would know any of those names of those near, or those Trump, or those boroughs, township, town, and steads. So at the end of the day, yeah, they did have to shift names around and stead names around. I'm sorry, but it had to be done. Forgive them. Then, another thing you don't understand is why the unstraight were shifted. Well, first off, during the time Sailor Moon was in the English world, there were a lot of folks who at the time had a mindset or a stand that felt that unstraight Souths were wrong on farcier shows. Well, if they were and they felt it was doubly wrong for if it was on a kid show back in the day. Now it's not a big deal anymore. Folks that are someone who's playing someone who's unstraight or not isn't a big deal anymore. But back then it was. And Dic did not want to get in some kind of lawful bind or some kind of bind or whatever with these folks over it. So Dic had to make Zoisite a woman. You're gonna have to deal with it. In a Dic world, Zoisite's a woman. I'm sorry. Now, once you get over, now you're gonna start saying, well, then they didn't. Then they another thing they bitch about is the show playing or the show speaking or whatever you call folks who show play and speak for lie drawling folks. Whatever you call them, I don't know. Show players, I guess. They go, oh, well, that's not, they didn't like the way they spoke for them. I don't know what you wanted them to tone like, or how to speak like, or how you wanted their words to be like. Unless you wanted Don Landis English. Well, sadly, that wasn't happening. What you got was New World English and Settled Land English. And if you didn't like those two ways of English, well, I'm sorry. It had to be put into English, right? Because folks that were watching that offshoot spoke English as a first speech. There may have been some folks who knew more than one speech, but a lot of folks didn't. At least not at the young ages that I was. Not at the year I was. Not at those time. So anyway, and you also bitch about. Oh, and once we get into Cloverway, your bitching tends to be, oh well, now they're shifting names around again. Oh well, the only thing bad you can say about Cloverway's one is well, once again, there isn't really much you can bitch about the Cloverway one. Yeah, they seek to be more closer to the Toei one than Dic was, but you still didn't like it. You still bitched about the names. And then you talked about how, oh well, how Sarah Uranus and Sailor Neptune, Amara Michelle onlooking, how they were unstraight, and it was true. And you said you didn't like how they were made to be near kin. Well, Cloverway, just like Dic, didn't want to get in that same bind. So they had to come up with a grounds to why they were near to each other. And it's true, and some near kin do happen to be close near to each other. You have that kin bond going. It does happen. But I know you folks out there, a lot of folks that by then had the interweb and had a reckoner and could, learn about the Toei one and what Dic did and what Cloverway did, so you kind of knew what they were. Good for you. But once again, Cloverway didn't want to get in that same bind that Dic would have been in. So anyway, and we'll go to Fisheye. Fisheye is a woman in all offshoots. Both the Toei, Viz, and Cloverway. So anyway, if you like that film, why bitch about it? Don't know. Anyway, you like that film, then follow me over here at Sailor Moon for Life. Or watch the last film we made yesterday over here, when Sailor Jupiter talked about getting the new offshoot of Windows 10. I'll see you later. Bye.